You're listening to the Staging Sips podcast with Lori Fisher. This podcast is dedicated to helping real estate staging CEOs build healthy businesses that grow, flow, and thrive. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy to be with you, and I hope you had a fabulous week, my friend. Today, we are diving into the results of the Staging Sips survey. We are uncovering what has been shared and what we can learn from it and what we're going to do with the podcast episodes coming up because of it. Now, if you have not filled out the Staging Sips survey, do not worry. There is still time. You can still do it. It would still be super, super helpful to me and your fellow business owners if you took the time to do it. It's super short. It's like 10 questions or something super easy. You can still do that at rethinkhominteriors.com/SIPS survey. We'll put that in the show notes so that you can go and fill that out. It would be so, so helpful. So before we dive into all of the results and the fascinating finds, and I promise that I will try not to say, I found that interesting or that's so fascinating, because I literally probably could do it 1,000 times. So I'll try not to. I'll try to catch myself. But it was kind of interesting seeing the results in there. But first, I want to share a really nice compliment that was shared as part of the survey. And I'm going to share who wrote it and her social media, her Instagram profile, so we can all go over and follow her. She has a really beautiful account. I have really loved all of the podcast content. It has been so refreshing to hear from someone who has grown their business and created such organized and successful processes and who shares them so freely. You have such a great cadence and tone and delivery. Your podcasts are really fun to listen to. I enjoyed the podcast on how to follow up and make staging consultations more polished and more fun. Well, thank you so much. My gosh, I feel like thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. And that is from Debbie at Main Street Staging. And her Instagram is at Main Street Staging. So we'll put that in the show notes so you can go follow her. Thank you so much, Debbie. And as I've said many, many times before, this podcast is a tool that I wished I had had when I was growing my staging business. So it means a lot to me to know that the topics are resonating and helpful and helping you level up your business. So, and the way we can let other business owners find us is by rating the podcast, reviewing the podcast, sharing it out on your social media pages if you've loved an episode, or sharing one of our stories where we post the link to listen into the episode. Any of that to get in front of the people in your community would be super, super helpful so that I can continue to share and help with more business owners. Because like I always say, the rising tide lifts all boats, right? So that said, if you are a staging business owner who is in that 3 to 5 or more business years, and you are at the point where you need to add team or you have team and you are struggling, you're feeling like you're inefficient, your processes aren't dialed in, your team isn't doing what you want them to, you're feeling frustrated by that, please come and join us in the Accelerate program at the Staging Business School. We have rolling admissions there, and your tuition at the time of this recording, and it will likely change in the future, but at the time of this recording in the spring of 2024, your tuition is lifetime access to all of the modules and all of the live coaching calls. And from the minute you get in the door and you pay your tuition or you pay your first payment installment, because you've got 12 months to pay it if you want to pay it in small increments over the course of the year, you have immediate access to all of the modules. You have immediate access to all of the past live calls, as well as all of the live calls that are upcoming. So come in and join us. Stop spinning your wheels. Get the resources. There are so many in there. Okay. And if you are a newer business owner and you want help with your networking, your marketing, how to keep in touch with people, how to feel like you're not salesy when you're selling, all of that good stuff, please come and join us on the wait list for the growth program that is opening up later in the spring of 2024. We've got a lot of great stuff for you in there to help you grow your business and be efficient while you are a roster of one. So get on that wait list. Both of the links are in the show note for Accelerate and for Growth. So please find your way there. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's dive into these survey results, which again, were super cool to see. So the most important thing I thought to share with everybody was that the first question is, how many years have you been in business? And then how many team members do you have? And I thought it was really cool because 60% of the respondents were in their business for 5 years plus, 30% were in their business for 2 to 4 years, and 10% were in their first year of business. So 90% of the business owners have been in business for at least 2 years, and could be longer than 5 years. So when you're listening to these results and what these people are sharing so graciously, is I want you to listen for things that they feel like they have in place and things that they don't feel like they have in place. So that way, no matter where you are in business, you don't feel alone. And you can see what the majority of business owners are getting in place for themselves, over the course of their time in business. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that I want you to listen to these results and begin to take notes and think, I'm going to read off what some of the choices could have been. So I want you to be thinking about that. And I also want you to head over and fill out that survey for me too. I'm asking so much today. My goodness, I'm being such a bossy pants. Anyway. Okay. So, and again, the number of team that people had, 60% had 2 to 4 team members, 30% it was just a roster of 1. It was just the business owner in the business, and 10% had 5 to 7 business owners. And this could include, I had mentioned in the question, it could include support people like bookkeepers or virtual assistants, things like that. So I thought that was really interesting as well, that we have people who are growing team, and then we have quite a few who are still just themselves as wearing every single hat in their business. So I thought that was really cool. All right. So let's dive into some of the challenges. So the first question was, what's your biggest challenge in growing your business? Check all that apply to you. So let me read off for you what those questions were. They were letting people know I'm out here, pricing my services, not sure what services are best to offer. People think staging is expensive. People think my staging is expensive compared to others in my business. The realtors in my area don't believe in it or do it themselves. Not onboarding enough new clients, inconsistent work due to seasonality or market conditions. I prefer to play safe by staying small. Cash flow. Overhead cutting into my profit, too much work, feeling burned out, growing a team, and delegating. So when we look at the responses there, it was the majority of people mentioned, 70% said it was not onboarding enough new clients. 50% said overhead is cutting into profit, and 40% was letting people know I'm out there. So all of those things are related to each other, which I found that to be really interesting, that it makes sense to me that 70% of people aren't onboarding a new client. So likelihood your profit margins, your overhead is cutting into your profit, because again, if we have seasonality in many of our markets, we're going to see that happen if we're not onboarding enough new clients throughout the year. So that may need to be a conversation about raising prices, but also letting people know I'm out here. But the most interesting thing was that a couple of questions later, I will point out to you a very fascinating result related to that. Okay, so what areas of your marketing are you really struggling with right now? All that apply. So the first one was, what are your biggest challenges growing your business? So it's a kind of client flow, cash flow problem, but these are what are the areas specifically in your marketing that you're struggling with. So let's go through and share with you what I had listed there for that. So marketing struggles would be determining my ideal client, defining my niche, how to best get the word out about myself, how to be in front of people in a non-salesy way, what to put in my presentations to get more clients from them, how to use social media more effectively, how to create and use an email list to grow my business, how to create visuals for my marketing, what should be on my website, how to get more traffic to my website, how to get it all done. It seems like a lot, and how to find enjoyment in my marketing. So the top areas of marketing that people seem to be struggling with were these. 70% was how to use my social media more effectively. 60% was how to get traffic to my website. 50% was how best to get the word out about my business. And 50% was about how to find joy in marketing. And this is all really important because many of us are the chief marketing officers for our businesses for a long time. Whether we are setting the marketing direction, we are actually the ones doing the actual posting of things or the creating of emails, things like that. This is all really important because we need to find some enjoyment in our marketing because we've got to do it. And all of that leads back to letting people know you're out there so that you can bring in enough clients so that you can steady your profit throughout the year. They're all related to each other. So if we're struggling with how to use social media effectively or traffic to the website or all that, and actually I will share with you in a future episode that some of these things you don't actually really need to focus on at all. You need to just pick a couple of things that you do consistently over and over and over again. And you don't actually have to do all of them, which is fantastic. So those were the things that people were struggling with the most. And let me just dial in. I want to dive back into the questionnaire itself because I wanted to share a couple of other things. 50% were how to best get word out about myself. And then when we go down to a little bit lower was what should be on my website, how to create visuals for my marketing was at 40%. So those were kind of the key things for people there. Very few people listed determining my ideal client or my niche. And very few people also mentioned things about what to put in my presentations and how to be in front of people but not feel salesy. So just it was like 30% of the people were with those. Okay. The next question was, what marketing and business tools do you have in place? Check all that apply for you. So 100% of people have a website. 79% of people have social media profiles. So that's great. 0% had a system for staying in touch with people. And if we look at the responses from above about not onboarding enough clients and letting people know that I am out there and how best to get the word out about my business. Well, you can get your word out about your business. I talk about this all the time in the getting noticed, getting known, getting new clients framework. Getting noticed is getting the word out there. Getting known is staying in touch with people. So on our next episode, we are talking about relationship management and your zip and click strategy for staying in front of people. So you will create your staying in touch system so that you're not ghosting people, because there's a lot of noise out there these days. And if you aren't staying in touch with people, you are losing a huge opportunity to convert people into paying customers. So I thought that was like the most eye-opening part of this questionnaire and the responses for me anyway, was that we are struggling to onboard clients, but we don't have a system to stay in touch. Or 0% of these respondents had that in place. Okay. What would be of the most help for you right now to grow your staging business? So 90% want to learn how to turn their website into a marketing machine. 80% want to learn how to steady their cash flow throughout the year. 70% want to learn how to use social media more effectively. 70% want to learn how to create and use a free resource to grow their business. And 60% want to learn how to turn their real world networking into paying clients. So you all are in luck, because many of our upcoming episodes are all related to this, because we dove into this data and created content specifically for these things. So upcoming this month, we have an amazing episode the week of April 20th with Brock Johnson, all about Instagram. So you can dial in your Instagram profile. You're going to learn some best practices. You're going to learn what not to do, what you don't have to do. It's a very refreshing, in-depth episode. We're going to be talking about relationship management or relationship marketing with the zip and click strategy that you can use. And we are creating a workshop this month or this quarter about how to create and use a lead magnet in your business. It will be an actionable workshop. You will come away with the foundations, everything that you need to have in place. We are going to workshop it together, and then you will learn how to get out there and use that in your real life marketing and in your online marketing to start staying in touch with people. So you've got a lot coming up for you, which I am super, super excited to be able to deliver to you. So again, if you haven't had a chance to fill out the survey, please do. And when you're listening to this, I hope that you feel that you are not alone, that we are all still learning, and I am looking at these things and creating content for you. So upcoming will be some really, really great episodes for you. All right. That's your sip for this week. I hope you have a wicked amazing week, and I will see you next time on the episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to the Staging Sips podcast. If you love what you've learned here today, please take a minute to rate and review it so more staging business owners can find us. And if you want to learn more about how to market and grow your staging business more strategically, I'd love to see you join us inside of the Rethink You Accelerate mentorship program. It is open enrollment. You can get more details at rethinkhomeinteriors.com/rethinkyou. Would love to see you inside.